Next.
Select. Anybody else? Anything different? This club is distinguished.
Distinguished.
Yes.
Training. Because of the training.
Five?
We know that. What level is distinguished?
Simply distinguished.
Really?
It is simply distinguished.
Six.
So why did we get to select? Where did the points come from? Where did everybody see the points come?
July and February training for people.
Sorry?
July and February for people in training.
Okay.
We're off the training.
So training. What else do we need?
8 new members.
Alright.
8 new members.
8 new members.
Two CC awards.
Education.
2 CCs.
2 CC.
2 CCs.
1 ALB.
1 ALB.
One ACB or ACS.
1 CL.
There's no
ACG.
No, one CL.
Where's the
Competent leader, January competent leader.
Did he
1
mention-
CL.
One CL.
He mentioned
January
ACB or
ACS.
ACS.
Advanced leader
We have
about
ACB,
April.
so it's this way and not
So I have 6 so far.
And officer, club officer list submitted and dues renewal report submitted.
Watson. Yes, it is. So do you get paid?
Member dues in September and club officer in May.
No, only one dues.
So this one here, that would be the point for next year.
Ah,
Ah.
that's the catch.
Huh? May is for next year.
Oh, because
That's next year's. That would be for the
Come from the next year.
This is the trick. That's the
Yes.
trick. So I think we get stalled at 6 points here.
Yeah, because that was
If you count on that year, it will be 7.
Now,
It's not three.
yeah, so we don't have May and June of last year. We're assuming they didn't do it.
Oh, no, we've did do it.
Well,
Yeah.
all right, so let's go to the next one. What do we think of this club? So why don't we do this one together?
Sure.
Let's do this one together.
Means a curfew. We have, like, it's all alliteration.
All right, so we have 4 club officers trained. Do we have any others? Oh, here.
February is.
We have 2, so we have our training point, right?
28, yes.
So that's 9.
2 CCs.
We have CC, and we have CC, so we have 2 CCs.
New members.
1 point.
So we have a duals renewal report.
See, I
Four
think they
members.
are,
Yeah, they may mean that,
I
but
think they did in May as well. I think they should have another point to
Yeah.
that club. I really.
the manual says distinguished, but they could be wrong. So let's
Because they
focus on
said
that.
they-
New members.
All right, well,
November,
let's assume
December,
that.
And March.
So
New
point
members
10.
it is. November, December, and March, new members.
Okay, so we have how many new members? 1,
4,
2, 3,
4.
March.
4.
That's it.
That's it.
1 point.
So point 7 they got. 8.
Advanced
They
communicator
don't.
1 in April.
1 ACB,
Just one.
additional CC.
Just one CC there, but we have already 2 upstairs.
This one's
Why?
It's the other way around. That's the distinguished one, and
Yeah,
that's not the
I
distinguished.
agree. This one seems distinguished to me. This one with the other, the extra point down here would have been select.
Yeah.
We got the order wrong of both.
Uh-huh.
All right, the rhetorical rants of rabbits.
Framing in July.
All right. Do we have new members?
Yes.
All 8?
Who are the rhetorical ones from Weber?
Yes.
Yes, 8.
8?
Getting the reference?
Do we have training?
Framing in July, okay.
I only see 1 train. I don't see the second.
Okay, that's in the next one.
No, we don't have training.
Don't have training.
No.
Just one training though, but
Do
not
we
in
have renewals and club officer lists?
September, yes. Renewal and
are we doing on educationals? This one doesn't deal with pathways at all.
Two CCs, yeah.
ACB, one ACB,
One CL
one
engineering.
CL,
One thing.
another
Two more
CC.
conflict
Two more
No,
CCs.
basically,
Another advanced B, third round.
ALB,
ACS,
And what are these guys?
Good job, President.
Presidents
What we
distinguished.
need is,
And
Even though they didn't do the training for that.
remember how I mentioned there's a little wiggle room. You can still be presidents. So these are good exercises to do to help clubs figure out where they are. The dashboards are huge. Does everybody know about the dashboards? Dashboards.toastmasters.org.
for the DCT.
Yep. So that will show you world. You can click on a district, and from a district you can home into areas, divisions, and clubs. I can. Here, Ron. Yeah, certainly. Or yeah, I'll just do it real quick.
Show with the number of clubs and the
yeah, that's why I asked him. It has to make.
If you want to what's your slide?
And they mentioned, they recorded as once, right, in September. Is that because that club only does an annual thing? Or for DCP, you only have to do one of two? I would assume you have to do both payments. Okay, so that's what they're doing.
Alright. That's not what I want to see.
Oh, the video.
Oh, that.
Just as area director, if the question comes to you, you have to be able to answer.
Alright, so this is the dashboard for Toastmasters International, and it shows all of the regions in the world. Did you know we were organized into regions? Now you do. Do you know what region that we are in? You're not allowed to answer. 9, excellent. And here we are, District 61, with a bunch of godly goop that's hard to read, but if you click on this guy, you can see our current status for the program year that is about to end in a week. There's no data yet for the year that we're going to be district leaders for because it hasn't started. But we can see for the year that has passed, we have 78 distinguished clubs, and that exceeds the 76 required to be recognized as distinguished in this category. Yay! We missed this last year by 5 clubs, so this is an upswing for us, which is great. We can see that the number of membership payments is 7,282, and our base last year was 7,276. To be distinguished in this category, we need to reach 7,386, so we're about 104 behind right now to be distinguished. However, this is the first year since 2013-2014 that we have actually reached that number again. So this is a good thing. We're headed in the right direction. Next year, we're going to be down here.
Absolutely.
That's our target. Next year, this is our target. So right here, we already have, if we just look at DCP points and ignore the qualifying membership requirements, we blow by the Smedley number by 10 to 20 clubs. Blow right by it. Our weakness is membership numbers. If we do this next year, my belief is that we'll easily do this. And then here's our great weakness. We started with 190 clubs. We currently have 181, and we've created 5 new ones. So that means we've lost 14 clubs. In order to have been Smedley distinguished, we would have had to have grown by 16. If we stay at 181, the number will be 14 next year. Which is why earlier when people asked how many clubs we need to create, I threw out the number 30. Because if we lose another 14 clubs and we have to build another 14 clubs, that's 28. We don't want to lose that many clubs. Some of them are going to be out of our control to save. It just won't be possible to save them no matter what we do. And at some point, heroic efforts are really wasted when we could be focusing on other things that can enhance the program for our members. and support them. Some clubs, their time has come, and that's a very sad thing to think about and say. But those members don't have to end their Toastmasters journey there. They can join other clubs. They can take a pause and come back and maybe revitalize the club in the area that where the club perished. But we want to support as many of our members as possible in as many of the clubs as possible. We want to lose as few as possible, but some of them will inevitably disappear. And so next year, we want to hit this number, that number, and this number. This one will be the real challenge. We really need to build new clubs. And building new clubs is not about abandoning existing members, not at all. It's about giving more people an opportunity to participate in Toastmasters. It's about giving existing members leadership growth and helping to develop new clubs. It is about creating a richer environment. When you have new members join your club, do you feel that it wasn't worth the effort to bring them in? No, it enriches your club. New clubs joining our district enrich our district. In 2013, June 2013 is when my club chartered. I was its charter president. And 6 years later, I am now district director. If that club didn't exist, I wouldn't be here right now. If your club hadn't been chartered by somebody, you probably wouldn't be here right now. Creating new clubs is a great thing that gives more people opportunities to benefit from this program. And there will be a lot of members that will challenge you on why are you focusing in on new clubs when you should be helping me? Well, it's not an either or. We're doing both. We are supporting existing members, and we are creating more opportunities for people to be a part of this program. So dashboard, so that's the high level view. And then you can scroll down and get an interesting view of all of these. I'm very proud to say that my home club is in the only area in the district currently where all of the clubs are President's Distinguished. Now, it's very, so, and that's the, yeah, we need an area director for this club. If you want to get easy select distinguished next year, this is the area to be part of this. The other thing I'll say is this area, the area director for this had a serious health challenge this year. And he was away from being able to support his clubs directly for probably most of the year. But he managed to make all of his area visits, which allowed him to qualify his area, and we'll talk a little bit about that, to be distinguished, to be recognized. And collectively as an area, we stood up and supported him. Because every one of us is going to run into challenges at some point this year. We're going to have a vacation when we're not around. We're going to have a family situation that takes us away from being able to accomplish all of our duties when we need them to happen. Heaven forbid we get a work promotion and we have to go away on a business trip when the area contest has to happen. You have a team of people here to help you. Your fellow area directors in your division director, the members of your area council, the presidents, VPEs, VP memberships will rise up and support you like you supported them. I ran the area contest for Area 5. Other people helped distribute recognition through the area. And the area director, came back stronger than ever and really finished his year strong. And I think he's well deserving of being recognized as select distinguished in his area. So that's the kind of support you can count on. So let's take a look at my club. So for President's Distinguished, only 9 goals. What happened? Well, that happened. Only 2 of us got trained. Not good.
Not when the PQT is in the club.
Nadia.
So gotta pick another one.
Right. So it's an excellent question. At some point, people have gone to the TLIs, the makeups have passed, all the group sessions are over, and there's still going to be many club officers that are not yet trained. Can we, as area directors, division directors, etc., train club officers? Yes, we can. Should you train your own club members? Check with Kimberly. Right? Make sure that the situation is acceptable. You're going to find that every club in the district, if given the opportunity, will say, you come to my club and train me, I don't want to go anywhere. And if you have to do that for every single club, you're going to be spending a lot of time doing officer training. Amy?
So some of my duties this year was actually tracking every individual in the district for what position they held and what position they received training in. And it was an interesting statistic by the time you were done to add up how many people were individually trained, but effectively that was 1 week solid, 24/7 of your time that got spent individually training people. And when everybody's talking about how, life happens, there's a lot to be done in Toastmasters with the area director duties, with the division director duties, with the trio duties. There's a lot to be done. You want to push them to those large group TLIs to save your time in the end so that you can be more effective to your clubs.
Thanks. So, yes, you can do it. I recommend, as Amy said, you really push people to the group sessions. This year, for the first cycle, we will be doing online training at noon in English and in French, targeting corporate clubs. Those who, for whatever, we know that corporate clubs, there's a lot of difficulty with people saying this. I just do this during work hours. I don't come out to the side of that. And so we're trying to accommodate that and up our numbers on people trained and hopefully get more engagement in those clubs because those officers are trained. There was a question, Lisa?
When will we know, get a list of,
Right.
see where I'm going with
When do we get a list? How do we find out who's already been trained? Because there's been training that's been going on. So those lists, everybody checks in and signs in when they go into the TLIs. Those lists are now in the hands of Kimberly and Frank Schiller, who are tracking all of this training. We actually don't know who the officers for the clubs are yet because TI hasn't told us. July 1st, we'll be able to send in a mail-in request to find out who the officers are, and then we can find out who has or hasn't been trained. And it will be probably mid-July before all of us gain online access to that information because TI takes a few weeks at the end of the year to really logistically finish the prior year before they open up the next year. So I don't have an exact date for you because it's a fairly manual process. What I would say is ask your clubs if they've been trained. They know. And then we'll formally get the lists out, and once we register it officially in TI, clubs will be able to see what they've been registered for, check with them to see that everybody who thinks they've gone is actually showing up on the list. One note on training, if you hold 2 officer positions in one or more clubs, let's say you're the president in one club and you're the VPN in another, or you're the treasurer and the secretary in the same club, you have to be trained in each of the roles you hold. You can't just show up at a TLI, go to the president's session, and get credit for secretary. It doesn't work that way. Many years in this district, we allowed that. But that was an incorrect thing. Clarified with TI, and we changed the practice as of December last year. You must be trained in the club officer position you hold. Now, some of us have had this habit of holding like 3 or 4 different positions in different clubs. That makes it very difficult to get all of the training in at the main TLIs and even the makeup TLIs. Recommend if you're going to hold multiple positions in different clubs that they be the same position. Creates a level of consistency there. Or on it, you've signed up for that commitment, you made the commitment to be those officer roles, you require to receive the training. Now, to get the credit for the training, only 4 of the 7 officers need to be trained. So if you can't ultimately make training for the 4th position you hold, hopefully in that club 4 other officers have been trained and you can still be recognized as being a club that is trying to achieve its objectives. so everybody know how to find this information now? So as division and area director, I'm just gonna whiff completely off of this instead of the slides from now on because this is the hands-on version. So division and area performance. You each have individual measures of success. So division directors are measured on how many paid clubs you have in your division. So to be distinguished, you must not lose any clubs. Or sorry, you can lose a club, but you can't have any net loss. So if you lose one club, you need to create one club to replace it. Right? So paid club base in Division A was 21, meaning that we needed 21 clubs to remain distinguished. That also qualifies us for the select level. And to be president's distinguished, we had to have grown one club. Hey, we did in fact do that in Division A. Queens, Toastmasters at Queens chartered in March. So we have 22 paid clubs now in Division A, which qualifies them for presidents on that measure. You'll notice that Division A, there's no P or anything right here. That's because there is only 8 distinguished clubs in the division so far. And you need 9 to be recognized as distinguished, 10 to be recognized as select, and 11 to be recognized as presidents. Is that still achievable for Division
Yes.
A? Absolutely. Absolutely. Cat Valley, for example, is 2 members away from being a distinguished club. That makes Division A distinguished. And there are a number of other clubs that will fall into that category of being on the cusp. So an area. What are the objectives for an area? Well, they're laid out in pretty plain English here. You start with a base of number of clubs, and you have 2 qualifying criteria here. The distinguished clubs, 5 for distinguished, paid clubs, distinguished for 5, and select for 5, and presidents for 6, so growing 1 club. This area, in fact, did grow a club, so it is at 6, qualifies for presidents on this scale. And again, we see that unfortunately the area isn't being recognized as distinguished, and that's because the distinguished clubs count is only at 1 for the entire area, and they need at least 3 to be recognized as distinguished. This is done on a percentage, but you don't have to worry about that. Just go to your area and it'll tell you what you need. You don't have to do the math. And is it possible for Area 1 to become distinguished? Well, the Cataraqui Valley is definitely close, but it's unclear whether Limestone, Queens, or St. Lawrence, etc. qualify. So you either need to hit 20 to become distinguished club, to qualify, or a net growth of 5. So some of these clubs with low membership numbers may have started well below 20 at the beginning of the year. It may only need 2 or 3 members to hit the qualification. Zarin?
You have to have all the club visits in order to qualify?
That is correct. So if you, as an area director, do not visit your 4 out of 5 of all of your clubs in both the November and May visit periods, you cannot be recognized as having been distinguished as an area director, even if it was presidents across the board.
Just to clarify, the club can be distinguished.
Yes.
The area.
The area cannot. That's correct.
Because they report only on that.
That's correct. So we want to see yeses across the board. Why is that important?
To know what's allowed in the club.
So why would you not be deemed as being a distinguished area director if you haven't done your visits? Sarah?
You want to be able to support your area, so if you've never been to the meeting, you can't support them.
That's right. If you're not in the clubs visiting, you're not doing your job as an area director. You need to visit these clubs to understand what's going on there, to support them, to understand their needs, what they're doing well, and how they could improve, so you can provide that feedback to them. If you're not doing that, you're simply not doing the job. All right. Any questions about any of that before I continue?
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Toastmasters Queens just charters, right?
Yeah.
So how come their membership to date is only 14?
Well, that's an excellent question. That comes back to transfer members. So if we use the practice of putting members in a sponsoring club, and then when you're ready, transferring them over to charter, those transfer members won't show up in the base because they didn't pay in that new club yet. They paid in the sponsoring club. Tony?
They chartered in March when they have paid for the 1st of April, when they're in a payment period right after that.
They may not have.
Okay. All right. So there are 20 people, but they may not have.
Not all of them may have renewed beyond the initial 6-month commitment.
Okay.
Or they haven't made the additional 2-month payment yet, but then they wouldn't be a club in good standing. All right. Any other questions on this? And I'll just flip back to the charts otherwise. I'll show you one other thing. So on here, there's this lovely thing that says daily reports. Great place to go visit. You click on that, and you get all of these cool reports. This is where you find out who achieved an educational award. And you'll see this list is really long.
It is by
Over 1,500 awards so far.
Wow.
You click on any of these titles and it'll sort. So if you're like, hey, what happened in my area? You can click on that and it'll alphabetically sort the areas reverse. So Quebec is #1 here. And you can see, yeah, it'll change. It'll change the order. Enjoy this page. If you're ever wondering what the heck is a VC1, you can click on that. And is there a pop-up? Yeah, there's the pop-up. Bring it over. VC1 is Visionary Communication Level 1. If you ever want to know what they all are, you can click on this Education Awards key, and it'll give you a lovely printable PDF that has all of the abbreviations on it and what they mean. And the logo of the various paths on it. So this is a very useful page. Other reports on this that are kind of interesting are October dues renewal. So who has submitted and is qualified as of October? And new clubs, for example, show up here. So let's take a look at the April one and see what happened. Just sort by this. And you can see that to the point, for example, didn't submit their renewals. So that club is probably suspended now, or is about to be suspended in September. Ineligible means that 3 of the existing members have not, at least 3 of the existing members have not renewed. And low means that they haven't renewed 8 members or more. And so these clubs are no longer in good standing, and they lose access, as I described earlier. And if this was September, they wouldn't get their point, or their half point in the DCP. So there's lots of gold in these reports that you can take a look at. You know, who submitted their club officer list last year? When was it received? Or yeah, these are this month. So, okay, there's a bunch of clubs. Right? You might want to take a look at your areas and go, hey guys, can you put your officer lists in? We need to know. And this will cripple their point for next year as well.
So that should be done by what, in the next week or so?
Yeah, like 7 days.
So is that last year's area director should be doing that, or we should be doing
It
that?
should be last year's, but contact last year's and work with them to get this done. Because if they don't do it, it becomes your problem.
This week's then.
All right, I'll go with, so a very useful page with lots of golden information there. Yeah, Triple Crowns is broken now. Well, it's not broken. So there's like 140